Today we have the infamous Michelob Ultra, the diet beer that started the exercise beer crazes. This was brought to us in 2002. Michelob, of course, owned by Anheuser-Busch. I don't even know if we've done an Anheuser-Busch beer. I think we've done one or two maybe. But Anheuser-Busch, of course, storied history. You know them from the Clydesdales, you know them from Budweiser, Bud Light, and all that good stuff. Just tons of macro lagers, more than the eye can see. Founded back in 1852, so one of the older breweries in the country. Founded by Eberhard Anheuser and Adolphus Busch. And yeah, basically all that needs to be said, because I'm sure you know the history about it. You know the fact that they have 13, I believe, breweries across the country, offshoots, and they just brew a lot of cheap beer. And they sell it, and people buy it, and I believe they're the #1 brewery in the world, so that's what they are. Anheuser-Busch Michelob Ultra, released in 2002, and was advertised as being a low-carb, low-calorie beer. Actually, one bottle of this is 95 calories, but still coming in at 4.2% ABV, which is, I guess, kind of a respectable ABV for such a low-calorie beer. Now, a lot of the newer, even less calorie diet beers, like the Miller 64, and I think Budweiser has one too. Budweiser, I'm going to say Platinum, but it's not Platinum. It's something else. Have very, very low calories, like even much lower than this one does. But what you give up in calories, you're also giving up in ABV. Those are only like 2.8%, so they're barely even alcoholic. This one actually falls into an okay category for light lagers as far as ABV goes. Light lagers, which is the style, of course, is straw, pale, light in color, light in aroma, light in taste. Usually they run in between that 3.5 and 4.5% range, so this is on the upper end of it, believe it or not. IBUs usually 5 to 10, so very, very little hoppiness, very little flavor, very little anything really. And this is the macro of macros here, Michelob Ultra. So we're going to open it up. Can't do it barehanded, but this is a twist-off cap. And we'll pour it into a Pilsner glass. Usually you can just, with this beer, drink from the bottle, but I want you to see it, so I'll pour it into the vessel that is most appropriate, and we just see a very extremely light beer. I mean, just almost waterish, almost piss-colored, kind of like the Coors Light that we did was, and just a nice big fluffy head. Bubbles kind of coming up. This is just the biggest looking lawnmower beer that you could ever see in your life, basically. So let's get the aroma now. I'm almost afraid of Michelob Ultra. You're getting that corn kind of, macro cereal grain kind of smell. But it's really not that unpleasant. It's kind of like any other beer. It actually kind of smells like a like Hams or Yuengling Premium or something like that. But not an awful smell to it. Not skunky. Not anything. It's a fresh kind of smell. So a little bit pleasantly surprised by the aroma of Michelob Ultra. And now we move on to the taste. Now we're getting 95 calories here of beer, and we're going to see if they can make it to where it kind of still tastes like beer at that point. Very watered down. I mean, extremely watered down. It's basically a little bit of carbonated water with a touch of wine. It's got a wine, maybe white wine a little bit. It's got a cardboardy aftertaste to it. It's not a very full aftertaste. You can tell they're not using the best ingredients in the world in this. It's just kind of a nah kind of beer. If it's cold and it's there, and it's a hot day, there's a time and a place for it, and you just don't want to drink anything heavy. For what it is, and I'm kind of trying to take into consideration what it is, because it is basically what it is. Not bad. I mean, I think it's acceptable. I mean, I not my go-to, but not something that is an absolutely awful beer. I mean, I really have to admit. That said, I'm going to go ahead and give Michelob Ultra, however, a 4.5 out of 10.